Once, in a quiet village, there lived an old woman. Her hair was silver, her face full of wrinkles, yet her eyes sparkled with kindness. Though she had no family, she was always happy. The villagers admired her because, no matter how hard life was, her smile never faded. The villagers worked hard to earn a living. Some were farmers, tilling dry fields, some were merchants selling goods in the market. But life was tough. The rains didn't always come, and sickness often spread. Many lived in worry. Yet, every morning, the old woman sat under the great banyan tree, smiling at those who passed by. One day, a young woman named Laya approached the old woman, her eyes filled with tears. She sat down beside her and, with a trembling voice, spoke. "Grandmother, I don't know what to do. My husband went to the city to find work, but we haven't heard from him. My children are hungry," she said, and wiping her tears. "I'm scared. What if he never returns? What if we have nothing left?" The old woman looked at Laya with gentle eyes and patted the ground beside her, inviting her to sit more comfortably, and said, "My child, when we fill our minds with fear, our hearts grow heavy. But when we focus on hope, we find strength. Let me tell you a story. Once, a poor man sat by a river, his face buried in his hands, weeping. An old woman passing by saw him and stopped. "My son, why are you crying?" she asked gently. The man looked up, his eyes filled with sorrow, and replied, "I have nothing. No food, no family, no money. How can I ever be happy?" The old woman in the story smiled and gestured around them. "You have the river, which flows endlessly," she told him. "You have the trees, which give shade and fruit. You have the sun, which warms you every day. If you only focus on what you lack, you will always be sad. But if you see what you do have, you will find peace." The man listened carefully. Slowly, he began to notice the river, the trees, the bright sun. His heart grew lighter. From that day, he worked hard, and his life started to change. The old woman finished her story and looked at Laya with warmth. "You see, my dear," she said, "the man's life didn't change because of magic. It changed because he changed the way he thought. When we think positively, we find the strength to face our problems. But when we think only of what might go wrong, we feel weak and helpless." Laya wiped her tears and hesitated before asking, "Will my thinking really make a difference?" The old woman nodded gently and reassured her. "Yes, my child. If you wake up every morning and say, 'Today will be a good day,' you will find the strength to care for your children and face whatever comes your way. But if you keep thinking about what might go wrong, your heart will stay heavy, and you will struggle to act." Laya took a deep breath and nodded. "I understand, grandmother. I will try to think good thoughts from now on." From that day, Laya followed the old woman's advice. Each morning, she told herself, "Today will be a good day." She worked hard, cared for her children, and faced life with hope. A few weeks later, a letter arrived. Her husband had found a job in the city and was sending money back home. Laya's eyes filled with happy tears as she ran to the old woman's house. "Grandmother, my husband has found work. He sent money for our children," she exclaimed, her voice filled with joy. The old woman smiled, her eyes twinkling. "You see, my dear," she said with a knowing smile. "When we think positively, we invite good things into our lives. Problems will always come, but if we face them with hope, we find solutions. A hopeful heart is a strong heart. Our thoughts have incredible power. When we focus on the good, we find strength, hope, and solutions. Life will always have challenges, but with a positive attitude, we can overcome them. So remember, choose hope, choose gratitude, and watch how life begins to change. If this story inspired you, like, share, and subscribe to Storybuzz for more motivational stories. See you in the next video.